Hey, brother. Now, Jay, I'm not a Ravenclaw. I think, to be honest, I'm not really sure. I mean, the Pottermore quiz did say that I was. Twice. But I don't know, I feel like I'm a Slytherin. I mean, I even tried to game the system. I tried to give them the answers that I believed they would think were the Slytherin answers. Doesn't that even feel like the Slytherin thing to do? Don't I get points for that? I mean, I don't know, maybe I was just overthinking it. Which does feel like the Ravenclaw thing to do. What my real takeaway is here is that apparently Ravenclaws are just cheaters. But even that just feels like the pompous Gryffindor mentality. And at the end of the day, I just want us all to be friends. Wait, anyway, in my ongoing quest to discover my own personal identity and how it relates to Hogwarts houses, I have been dragged down the tunnel of what it might feel like to be a Ravenclaw. And I have to say, as much as I would have thought that it would be the most difficult to be a Slytherin, Ravenclaws are totally getting the short end of the stick. So today I am coming to the defense of a Ravenclaw. Here's the situation. Imagine you're taking the Pottermore quiz for the very first time, not knowing what house you are going to be sorted into. You select the answer to the final question and hooray, you've been sorted into Ravenclaw house. Good for you, that's the smart house, you think. There's nothing negative anybody could say about them. And you scroll down and you read the welcome statement. Congratulations, I'm Prefect Robert Hilliard. And immediately you're like, who? And I'm delighted to welcome you to Ravenclaw House. Our emblem is the eagle, which soars where others cannot climb. Our house colors are blue and bronze, and our common room is found at the top of Ravenclaw Tower, behind a door with an enchanted knocker. That Robert Hilliard bit aside, what an exciting day, you think? I can't wait to go online and buy some Ravenclaw merch to celebrate my new house. I'm gonna be so decked out in bronze and blue eagles, I might just sprout wings myself. But that's just about where you're going to have the door slammed right on your enthusiasm. Because there is no house that is treated worse when it comes to merch and house pride than Ravenclaw. Just look at the top results if you type Ravenclaw merch into Google. Do you see the problem here? No? Okay, well let me ask you, based on this page, what are the colors of a Ravenclaw house? If you did not know any better, you would probably say blue and silver. Yeah, so for no reason whatsoever, Ravenclaw house merch has adopted the wrong color scheme. If you look closely, you will see that only 2 out of all of these actually has the correct colors, and those are fan-made shirts on Etsy from probably True Blue Ravenclaws. Oh, I should have said True Blue and Bronze Ravenclaws. In fact, if you even just look at the top related search on this page, it is blue bronze Ravenclaw merchandise, meaning tons of people out there are specifying, trying to zero in on the correct color scheme. There is a demand, people. Just give the people what they want. And that's actually, if you would believe it, only half of the story. If you zoom in a bit closer, you're going to also see that they got the mascot wrong as well. I'm sorry, is that a raven? Yeah, so for whatever reason, the movies decided that they wanted to change Ravenclaw's mascot over from the eagle to the raven, and because most of the merchandise surrounding the Harry Potter anything is from the movies, that's what we're left with. Basically meaning that if you are in Ravenclaw house, you don't get to own official merchandise. What's worse is that even in their own branding, they aren't even consistent. Look at this advertisement for pins. What do you see wrong here? Yes, again, we have the raven, totally wrong, but also look over here at the Hogwarts crest. We're back to eagle. It's like they were saying oh yeah, no, we can't change the Hogwarts crest. That's pure, that has to remain the same. But the house, the real issue here is that probably most people just kind of assume that the actual house mascot is in fact a raven because 1, raven is in the name Ravenclaw. You do have to be paying attention, but you can spot it right before claw. And 2, Ravenclaw gets so little recognition in the books at all that hardly anybody is ever even once reminded of the fact that it's supposed to be an eagle. But why even make this change to begin with? Because if you think about it, the same exact argument could just as easily be made for Gryffindor house, where instead of a lion, it could have been a griffin. I mean, it is right there in the name, isn't it? And isn't that the game we're playing? Which, hilariously, this is a griffin. This is a griffin head. Half lion, half, wait for it, eagle. Meaning if they had used the same logic, the Gryffindor mascot, in fact, would have been an eagle. Can you even imagine how mad Ravenclaws would have been? To make matters worse, let me read to you Ravenclaw's key characteristics: cleverness, wisdom, wit, intellectual ability, and creativity. And do you know what is commonly referred to as the smartest bird? Ravens. Yeah, so not only is it confusing, but it also sort of would have made sense for the wrong thing to actually just be the right thing to begin with. Like, did you know that they have actually done tests with ravens to figure out whether or not they solve problems with logic or instinct? And it's logic? Seriously, link in the description. Go check it out, it's crazy. It's like J.K. Rowling was just so worried about being too obvious that she had to make this like really weird change. So it's like if she was describing Slytherin house to somebody and they were like, I bet I know what that one's gonna be. And she was like, yes, oxen. Regardless of the sense that it would have made, it's still wrong. The books very clearly say eagle. And these are not eagles, and Ravenclaw House deserves to have itself represented accurately. Personally, we would never do that to you, Ravenclaw House. Look, we have an eagle on our shirt. Available now at SuperCarlinBrothers.store. I mean, seriously though, but like for the house that is associated with wit and logic, it just seems like an injustice to the values of the house itself that it represents. Like, it seems like this is the worst house to not get like the facts right on. You're not just misrepresenting the color and the bird, but like also their values. And real world Ravenclaws have taken notice, and they do not stand for this. Back in 2015, J.K. Rowling tweeted about the fact that it was the real life day that Harry's kids would have been headed off to Hogwarts, and there was renewed interest in buying the books again. And as such, one bookseller, Juniper Books, which sells house themed books, was swamped with complaints because the cover of the Ravenclaw series had a raven on it. And in what can only be described as an act of heroism, they actually made the change to these covers and offered to replace it with anybody's who hadn't been shipped out yet. The point is, change is possible. We can remove the raven. We can bring back the bronze. And I really hope that they do this at some point, because if you are in fact a Ravenclaw, you also have precious little to celebrate elsewhere anyway. As far as the story goes, the main champion that you get for Ravenclaw House is Luna Lovegood. And while I 100% agree and totally love Luna, she doesn't make the best representation for Ravenclaw House, because even within her house, she's kind of an outcast.
Keeps away the narwhals.
And she doesn't even show up until book 5, but when she shows up, she shows up.
Levicorpus!
Aside from her, your next best bet is probably Cho Chang, who is probably your more standard Ravenclaw, but she's not much better. Like, yes, Cho does date Harry, but it's in the most like, yeah, but we were never really dating anyway, way possible. And for the most part, she is just an emotional mess, which is totally fair, by the way, though. I mean, having your boyfriend murdered by basically the darkest wizard of all time is a pretty rough deck of cards. And to make matters worse, these don't even have an eagle on them. I mean, please do be emotional and grieve within your own time, but also I would have loved to have seen the other sides of you just a little bit. And that's pretty much the whole list. I mean, maybe you could throw Flitwick in there too. And yes, I mean, there are some other like minor characters in there as well. You have Roger Davies, Isaac Edgehill, Terry Boot, Padma Patil, but even in the movies, she's not even in the right house.
Hi, Harry.
But I mean, nobody really cares about those characters anyway. One of them was entirely made up. Did you even notice? It was Isaac Edgehill, that's not a real character. Oh, but Ben, you're leaving out such major Ravenclaw characters. What about like Trelawney and Lockhart and Quirrell? True, excellent points. How did you know those were Ravenclaws? Not by reading the books. Let's be honest, probably Wikipedia, and that's not even the source. It's actually Pottermore, but not even where you'd expect it. There are articles about all 3 of them, but only Lockhart specifically mentions his house. Otherwise, you have to visit the individual fact file page of the character and scroll to the bottom, and there is the info separate from the article and definitely not in the actual books. Meaning, if you were just a regular reader of the series, you would not know that information. And then, so what? These are not even amazing additions to the House of Ravenclaw. Like what? You have like the 2 worst teachers and Lockhart for the house that's supposed to represent intelligence. Like, I'm sorry, but what is Quirrell even teaching here? What's the deal with the iguana? Iguanas are basically squirrels for Florida. I mean, if you aren't going to give them a lead character, and as of right now, they are the only house without one. Gryffindor, of course, has Harry Potter, Hufflepuff has Newt, and Slytherin has Albus. Yeah, Albus. Ravenclaw's being outdone by this. The point is, if they're not gonna have a good lead, could they at least have a good villain? Even there, Slytherin has Voldemort, Gryffindor has Wormtail, Hufflepuff has no one, and even that is something they do brag about. Ravenclaw, on the other hand, is like, yes, we can go bad, but we're not good at it.
Hardly any of you remember that my favorite color is lilac.
I don't know, guys. I'm just feeling bad for the Ravenclaw house today. They deserve some respect. They're not just the fourth house. They are clever and wise, and they celebrate individuality, and they accept things that others wouldn't. And all they are asking for is a shirt with a bronze eagle on it. Guys, I don't know if there is anything that we can do, but as a community, we can certainly try. So guys, be sure to share this video around and use the hashtag remove the raven and bring back the bronze. But guys, for my question of the day, what house are you in and what struggles do you incur? Leave all your thoughts in the towel section down below. Also guys, if you would like to get your very own piece of Hogwarts merch where every single one of the mascots is 100% accurate, you can do so by going to SuperCarlinBrothers.store. But guys, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see some more Harry Potter action from us, you can click right up here to figure out why Ravenclaw's house is an eagle anyway, or right here to see our video in defense of Slytherin. But Jay, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.